Guys, today is June the 12th, 2024. Yeah, once again, it's June the 12th, 2024. And once again, this is Shawn, Dexter, John, Special Manager of INTERPOL, Chief Manager of the United States Government and its partnerships, and Nominal Manager of the Central Intelligence Agency and INTERPOL. So once again, I'm Shawn, Dexter, John. I am an American citizen. I was born in the Eastern Caribbean. I grew up in the United States mainland, on the United States mainland. And I am the Chief Manager of the United States Government and its partnerships. I am the Nominal Manager of the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA, and INTERPOL. And I am the Special Manager of INTERPOL. It's my job to be able to evolve INTERPOL now, well, still a slight organization of a slight association of law enforcement agencies throughout the Americas. It's going to evolve into becoming a multi-public agency, a hemispheric police agency, hemispheric law enforcement agency. So we're going to evolve it. It's going to take about 2 years to be able to get enough infrastructure, enough resources to be able to sell that to the public and representing the reality. So in 2026, the EAA is going to be created. It's going to be established. It'll be the Free Trade and Economic Area of the Americas, and essentially, colloquially, everyone will communicate it as the Economic Area of the Americas, naturally. And the provisions within the corresponding treaty establishing the EAA, the corresponding treaty, essentially it'll be a free trade and economic agreement of the Americas. Essentially, that's what it will be, but it might be called the treaty establishing the Economic Area of the Americas, and then the subtitle will say for the regulation of the Free Trade and Economic Area of the Americas, blah, blah, blah. Well, essentially, that's what we are working on. But the fundamental provisions will provide that INTERPOL is now registered within the United States government and every other government membered in the Organization of American States as an and the official police agency of the Americas. So once again, INTERPOL will be transformed in 2026 officially and nominally, without any sort of uncertainty, into the hemispheric police agency of the Americas. And it will work within the system of the EAA, which will be supported, endorsed, protected, and secured by the Organization of American States toward its manifestation as the Union of the Americas in 2049, which will be the Continental Union, which will be able to not combat or even challenge, but it will be able to stand firm in protecting the United States as lead nation state on the planet in sight of the immense progress we are going to see with the African Union and the immense expansion we are going to see with the European Union. So the European Union is going to evolve to become the largest union when it comes to landmass, because Russia eventually will enter into the European Union after the impending world war, the global war, comes to an end. Eventually, Russia will enter into the European Union, and the rest of Eastern Europe will be conquered, quote-unquote conquered by NATO, toward entering NATO and the European Union. So Europe will evolve into becoming the largest union amongst the 5 continental unions we are working on. And the African Union will be immensely progressive when it comes to economics and financial development. Africa will become the wealthiest continent on the planet by 30 years time, in a 30-year period. The 2063 gender plan actually is real. By 2063, Africa will have the tallest skyscraper in the world, and it'll have the largest continental economy in the world amongst the 5 continental unions which will exist by then. The Union of the Americas, the European Union, the African Union, the Union of West Asia or the West Asia Union, and the Asia Pacific Union or Union of Asia Pacific. Union of the Asia Pacific. Okay? And India, the Republic of India will evolve into becoming the superpower of West Asia. It'll be the lead nation state in West Asia. China will be the economic superpower. It will remain the economic superpower in the Asia Pacific, and Australia will house the continental capital of the Asia Pacific, Sydney, Australia. So Australia will be the political and social leader in the Asia Pacific, naturally, and China will remain the economic superpower in the Asia Pacific, no doubt about it. That's clear as day. And and so on. So this is what is going to happen with Europe. Germany is going to stand firm in working toward becoming the economic stability of the European Union, and it'll be in the center of Europe for the most part, and it will serve as the financial, the lead financial zone in the European Union as a nation state. That's what Germany is going to evolve into being. But Western Asia is going to be, not Western Asia, but Western Europe within the European Union will certainly be the safest part of Europe, when it comes to dealing with global issues and having the capital city of the European Union, having the capital of the European Union, and in being traditionally progressive, and in being traditionally, over the past half century or so, or even beyond that, being multicultural and more multiracial and multi-ethnic and so forth. So Western Europe is going to lead socially and politically the European Union, but Germany is going to be the economic and financial power in the European Union. And so Europe has so many traditional powers and has so many power points that Germany does not have to be a superpower. It's just not going to evolve into being a global superpower at all. It's just going to be a very secure, sound, and formidable financial and economic, lead of the European Union. It'll keep the European Union functioning. It'll keep the budget stable. It'll keep the European Union and subsidiaries and partners and those and dissenters alike from defrauding the European people and European institutions and the infrastructure itself. So I'm not demoting the European Union into any sort of depravity. That's just not what's going on. But it's just the rest of the world has to believe that it has contributed to the progress of humanity into some sort of human singularity. And that the rest of the world has to believe that Africa, serving as the wealthiest continent in the world, will be able to communicate something, and the United States of America remaining the wealthiest nation state in the world and being lead nation state in managing the United Nations world government that we are going to have in 2044, with me, once again, being the first world president elected by the World Congress, still officially to be titled the United Nations General Assembly. Okay, so the United Nations, I'm certain is going to settle on this and resettle on this, and the renegotiations are not going to alter the terms at all, but at times we do settle on how things get done toward the narrative points that which I've explained. The narrative points, they have been determined already. There's no getting away from that. But sometimes we do renegotiate how we get to those narrative points and how we get to being a bit more diplomatic and getting folks to accept it and not providing any sort of incentive for overbearing, political opinion and exercising the right to dissent, So regarding, people in general, regarding social activists, political activists, economic activists, organization activists, and so forth. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to write a work paper today. I'm going to author a work paper, and I'm going to publish it on script.com. I'm going to also publish it on my website. My website is ShawnDexterJohn.wordpress.com. I'm also going to post it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm going to finish up publishing the work paper that I authored yesterday. I did publish it. I honestly published it on script.com. I did posted it on LinkedIn, and I'm pretty sure I posted it on Facebook and Instagram. Well, you know what? I might have posted. Yeah, I might have published it on my website also. I'm gonna have to make sure that I did so. But anyway, if I did not, yesterday I worked on the Article 6 of the Universal Declaration. And I do remember publishing it, a bit later than usual. So hopefully I did publish it on my website also. But if I didn't do so, then I'm going to do so today. In addition to what I'm going to write today on Article 7 of the Universal Declaration, and I did video record something that I need to have published right away. I did video record something last night or yesterday evening that I'm going to have to publish today. In addition to publishing this particular video recording that I'm publishing today, obviously, June 12th, 2024. So yeah. What else? So yeah, there's no such thing as a remedial concept within the new societies. Concepts and political perceptions of an Eastern Caribbean model of commonality, meaning the legal article of 204 pages, Americana, the new societies, political, and concepts and political perceptions of an Eastern Caribbean model of commonality. There's no remedial concept. There's no average concept. There's no simply above average concept. Everything is a bit profound. Everything is a bit scientifically studied and assessed after conceptualizing it, and everything was placed under scientific scrutiny by myself and others. By myself first, and then for affirmation others, without them actually changing any of the terms or the elements or any of it at all, just providing vocalized affirmation. So I want you guys to understand it. The 100% minimum standard, it makes perfect sense. It can be some sort of emergency standard that allows certain bills or certain resolutions or certain legislation, whether it's in the sub-regional, regional, or continental level, regarding supranationalism to pass in emergencies when it's difficult to get passed, when the whole world or the global community needs it to get passed for progressive reasons. So essentially what the 100% minimum standard provides is that even the conventional voting procedures ought to be applied for the most part in regarding simple majority or other kinds of majorities, above 50%, or maybe even just 50% being some sort of quasi-majority, in denoting that any sort of stalemate infers something progressive, that we get into a certain point of eventual or well, I guess you can say eventual simple majority vote. So yeah, essentially what I was saying with the 50.1% a simple majority standard Okay, I'm going to have to re-articulate that because I promise you it makes perfect sense. What I wrote in the book sketch, what I altered in the book sketch, it was for confusion purposes, as necessary to continue with our operation of working toward the EAA and working toward a continental integration soundly and without threat, and toward working toward world government soundly and without threat. But what I did re-articulate within the legal article, the final product of that particular assignment of mine, is that the 100% minimum standard works perfectly, and the 50.1% simple majority percentage, that standard is not too unconventional, and it does not communicate anything that which is obscure at all. But the minimum standard itself, the options given within the 100% minimum standard, the 4 or 5 options, actually it's about 5 options, but we can say 4 to 5 options, it allows for the passage or the enactment of passage or enactment of resolution, legislative resolution or legislative act, legislation itself within sub-regional or regional or continental unions or communities, okay? Okay, so even though the conventional simple majority, once again, does work perfectly, and it puts people to sleep, no one has to over worry about that. But in emergencies, especially when it comes to not just civil unrest, but when it comes to economic unrest, when it comes to threats to global institutions, especially financial institutions, yes, we should be able to have some sort of minimum standard, 100% minimum standard, or some sort of minimum standard which caters to majority, while allowing the political expert, the leaders, especially the elected leaders of the particular country or within the respective association, community, or union, to be able to sort of infuse some sort of energy or resource or some sort of articulation of hope on a particular matter or on the matter at issue. Okay? So that's what it provides for. And what you guys see with the parliamentary procedure, I want you guys to know that if I needed to write the legal article, the Constitutive Charter of the Union of Eastern Caribbean States, the charter itself, if I needed to write it in legal terms which were almost indecipherable to a person who did not want to stay in the books all day long for damn near a year, I would have written everything in a sort of a style that I wrote the parliamentary procedures in. As you can see within the charter, the Constitutive Charter, the suppositional Constitutive Charter, you can see that when it comes to explaining how the parliamentary procedure would work and how it corresponds in some sort of way to supranationalism and legislature within supranational constructs, you can see that I could go that deep and that far, and I could make it perfectly comprehensible, perfectly correct, and competent, perfectly correct and prudent. Hold on, the cars. Sometimes when I say competent, it sounds as if I'm saying incompetent. That's natural. A lot of people say that about themselves also. But yeah, the parliamentary procedures that I did denote within one of the footnotes. I'm pretty sure it was a footnote, right? It was not an end note. I'm pretty sure it was a footnote. The parliamentary procedures that I did provide within the Constitutive Charter, and I did write all of the Constitutive Charter. I did write all of the legal article, the introduction, the Constitutive Charter, the footnotes, the endnotes, everything. I wrote everything on my own. But what I did provide within that particular footnote regarding parliamentary procedures, collective procedure, but there are procedures within that parliamentary code of conduct, code of procedural conduct. What I did provide is that I could write in technical terms which are indecipherable to the naked eye, but completely competent, prudent, completely literate to the legal community and jurisprudential community, and corresponsive to what we do see of some of the congressional bills which come out of Congress. Some of the bills that come out of Congress, they're almost indecipherable or incomprehensible to the layman, like the ACA and so forth. The Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act is almost incomprehensible to the layman, and even attorneys, trained attorneys, are having a very difficult time understanding any of it. Okay, I know how to write in those legal terms also, and I did write the ACA in all honesty, and I told you guys how. I think I did. Interdimensional sort of work that I've done. I honestly did write the ACA. I did have resources that allowed me to do so, and I did so over a decade. I can't say anything else other than, yes, I'm from the high universe. Yes, I am Jesus Christ. Yes, I am God. I wrote the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act in heaven, and I sent it over on schedule to Barack Obama. And I told him in a special note, I'm pretty sure that he knows it came from me, that yes, he can name and create Obamacare and know for sure that this particular ACA protects it completely. He will be able to put forth his idea of the Obamacare program to help us get to the point of perfective universal health care, and that the ACA protects it completely in perpetuum, damn near, because no one is going to approach superseding the ACA in Congress. What we are going to do with universal health care on a continental level, on the hemispheric level, will not preclude the ACA. What it's going to do is going to allow the ACA and the traditional health insurance programs or the health care programs of the United States federal government to be a bit more secure, a bit more singularized, a bit more proficient, a bit more articulated to the American people, and a bit more corresponsive to traditional notions of universal health care as clearly mastered by the Canadian government, the federal government of Canada. So even though the federal government system of Canada's system is a bit more simplistic, but it's very proficient and it's straight to the point. Even though the American system is a bit complex, it's a whole lot more responsive to peculiar situations, and it allows for not the dominance, but it allows for private health insurance companies. It allows for private health insurance companies to remain part of the infrastructure of the United States, and to remain a fundamental operation of the financial industries of the United States for the most part. That's what the ACA allowed for. It allowed for Obamacare, and Obamacare allowed for the traditional programs of health care to survive, because it does allow for the private health insurance companies or the industry itself to persist, not as predominant, not as dominant in the United States moving forward, but as elemental to the American psyche and the American culture and the American tradition. There's nothing wrong with the private health insurance industry if it's simply going to cater to customization and nothing else. If it caters to customization and not domination over public health care insurance securities,